Hello, my goddesses. I'm so excited. We're going to be going live with my wonderful friend Laura today, and we're going to be speaking about how to unleash your inner Empress, which I'm so excited about. Let me give you a little bit of a background as to what we're going to be talking about today. So you saw that I just launched this beautiful program, which is called Empire. And the program is built on everything that I have learned and everything that has helped me become stress-free and connected to myself. And this is really all of the tools that we will be teaching in this program is something that Laura and me, we are experts on. And Laura is going to be an expert coach coming on week 6 and telling us about human design and how to connect that with your menstrual cycle. Hi, Laura, how are you?
I'm great. How are you, Lev?
I'm good. I'm excited for us to speak about this today. Very excited to connect with you because I love connecting with you.
Yeah.
Much fun, and every time we talk forever. But today especially, we want to talk about the beautiful program Empire that we have just launched, and I just shared that you're going to be a beautiful expert coach in week 6, sharing your beautiful insights into human design on connecting that with the menstrual cycle. And before we get into the details and everything, what were your first thoughts when you saw the program and the program outline, and what did you feel when you read through all of it?
Oh, well, I mean, it was like a hell yeah, first of all. And I feel like there's so many programs for women out there, but I haven't heard the word empire used very much unless it has to do specifically with money, like build an empire, which is actually quite a masculine thing to do. So I love that we co-created this term Empress together, and it's your inner Empress. So I actually, waking up today, I'm like, oh, I should dress like an Empress. And then I'm like, wait, my inner Empress is already here. And it's funny because I'm here in New Jersey on the East Coast in the US, so haven't been awake too long yet. And she's over in Germany where it's, what is it, early afternoon there?
It's 3 p.m. here.
3 p.m. So you're like almost done with your work day. So on different sides of the globe, different appearances, whatever, but whatever's inside of us, that is something that doesn't leave, and it doesn't depend on what you look like. Although we will, I'm sure, talk about a little bit in the program because, fun fact, I know we'll get into this more, but fun fact is women tend to look their most glowing. I don't want to say like you're most beautiful, but yeah, tend to have the most magnetism, which makes sense when you're ovulating around your time of ovulation, which makes sense, right? Because you want the egg to get fertilized. So your body's like, let's be super attractive and cute and like really just pull all the men to us. But then, during your period, it's like, screw off. We need our time to.
Yeah.
If that makes anybody feel better today, I just wanted to throw that out there. But there's so much wisdom in our menstrual cycle. And I was so excited that you had this idea to come to me as well to incorporate human design. And there's so many ties to it within what's called the body graph. So it takes your energy centers and it analyzes like how you process energy and the inherent gifts within you. Also the inherent challenges or the places where maybe the outside world or other people can manipulate or control or condition you. So I feel like this all ties together, especially as a woman, especially in a world where the patriarchy exists and we have what's called internalized misogyny, where we basically take in this conditioning from the patriarchy, and sometimes we're kind of punishing ourselves without even realizing it. So I'm just really excited to be part of this program, and it was a full hell yeah when I saw the Empire and Empress emblem.
Yes, I love to hear that. And yes, I've been thinking about this for a while now, because for people that have been following me, my focus for so long was like the nutrition and training aspect. It was like the main thing that I was coaching clients in. And after a while, I saw like, hey, I want to do something else. A lot of people feel like, oh, I don't need this aspect anymore. I feel like, I got my nutrition, I got my training plan, I have it all in place, but I don't know anything about my menstrual cycle. And I feel stuck a lot of times. I feel stressed at work. I feel so disconnected from my body. And it clicked to me, and I was like, oh my God, like, I need to do something else. I need to create something that like what you said is not on the market yet in that way that it really connects your menstrual cycle with your inner wisdom and puts it together in a way that like you really connect back with your body, with yourself, with your, as I said, inner wisdom, but also helps you really reprogram also the way you think about yourself, right? Because it's a huge aspect of the program as well, learning how to you know move through trauma, through stress in a way that is that can be very easy. It doesn't have to be so hard, but a lot of times we don't realize that our programming and the way we grew up is hindering us from really creating the life that we want and feeling like we have actually a lot more freedom and a lot more possibilities to explore, you know, in our work. No matter if you work a 9 to 5, if you are an entrepreneur, no matter what you do, it's for every single woman. Because every time I teach about the cycle, you know, if it's a one-on-one client or in my other programs, people are like, oh my God, this is like gold. Every time I hear that. And so I know it's going to like really help so many women out there. So you already kind of touched on that. And we have the word empire, we have the word empress. Why do you think it's so important to the way that we put this together to really use all of the aspects of the menstrual cycle, of the subconscious mind, of the embodiment, and of the human design? Why do you think it's so important to take all of these elements together to really create this full body transformation?
Oh, that's such a great question. I mean, there's so many things that we don't even understand about ourselves. And as much as we can be in the self-development space and sign up for all these programs, listen to all the podcasts, do all the work, all the personality quizzes, like I was just thinking about you when I woke up because I use this app called Natural Cycles, which tracks my menstrual cycle, and I log my basal temperature every morning in there. I actually took a luteinizing hormone test strip this morning as well because I'm scheduled to probably ovulate by tomorrow. I didn't know any of this stuff a couple years ago, and I've been using that app for a couple years. And today I just realized that I tend to ovulate on exactly day 23 of my cycle, and how easy it can be to track that because I happen to be very regular. And anyways, I just bring it up because there's these things that we don't realize that you can like add on to your self-development practice. And the menstrual cycle for females is so important, or for anyone that's menstruating is so important, and it's not something to be ashamed of. It's so for a lot of people, if you feel like it's something that you hide or suppress or that you have to deal with, you know, like, and cramps are no fun, right? But they're powerful, you know, like sometimes we can use the subconscious mind to see things in a more objective way, instead of just this is good or this is bad, because you lose the actual true nature of some of the gifts that were given. And I think that that's like a huge part of starting to learn more about the menstrual cycle and incorporating it into your own self-development program, because it's just like human design. The reason I'm so passionate about it is because it shows people these inherent gifts they have within them that they're like, once you mention it and they do the work, they're like, oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. You know, it changes your whole perspective. It gives you confidence. It helps you have more direction in your daily life. It helps you, like, you know, I'm a vegan dharma coach. I'm all about your soul's purpose, and not necessarily your occupation, but how and why you do things. And all of these things tied together, it just amplifies your gifts. It gives you confidence. It gives you direction. It gives you purpose. It gives life more meaning. So in a nutshell, you know, I think those are kind of slightly important things, right?
Yeah, I mean, to me, like, I think this is the most important thing. Like, if I, you know, after a while I realized, because I ignored my menstrual cycle for so long, I ignored the subconscious mind for so long. I always thought, when I started getting into manifestation, I was like, what a woo-woo shit, you know. I was like, this is so weird, you know, law of attraction. I was like, this sounds cool, but how can I attract what I want? Like, I don't get it, until I actually like started doing the work. And it's not that, you know, the universe is just going to bring you a silver platter. It's like you co-creating with the universe. Like, it's you becoming the person that wants to attract this thing. And for you to really change yourself, it requires for you to become very aware of, right? So to me, I used to struggle with very heavy periods, very painful periods, right? To a point where I would like cry in my bed, roll around, take painkillers, and it wouldn't help, right? I remember going to work feeling horrible on the first day of my period, like literally dying on the chair. And my boss would look at me and she would be like, are you okay? Do you want to go home? And I saw this in myself, but I also started seeing this in other women, right? And I just always felt like I was so hard on myself because I thought I had to give it all every single day, right? I had to perform every single day. And that was, first of all, a programming that I had, that I was conditioned to believe I had to always push. And on the other hand, I did not understand that we are cyclical beings. I didn't know how to, on two and two together so that I can, first of all, reprogram these beliefs that I have about work being hard and having to push to be successful. And on the other hand, I had to learn about us being, cyclical beings, and learning how to combine these two together to now wake up in the morning and know the purpose and know why I'm doing what I'm doing, and being able to really live it, right? And not just do it because I think I need to, right? That's why I know I always attract beautiful clients, because they see that. They're like, yes, I want to work with you because I see that you practice what you preach. It's not just like this facade of me being this perfect person. I share. I feel like shit. I share with people, right? I'm very honest and open because that's what we need more of. And then I started getting into human design, which this whole new world again opened up for me. I'm like, oh my God, how did I not know this? So putting everything together, in my eyes was like this, this explosion where I was like, oh my God, it needs to be put together in some kind of way, because we can't just look at one thing and like miss out the other thing. So how does human design connect with the menstrual cycle? Because I'm very curious to hear.
Yeah, well, thanks for sharing that, first of all. And I'm sure many of us that menstruate can relate. Like, sometimes I forget how many times I've had super painful periods, because a lot of it was in the past when I was like a teenager and stuff, and things were very stressful, and you don't think about drinking your daily water and eating right and all of that. And Jess and I both come from a space where we didn't just become these like spiritual coaches all of a sudden. We've had very like 9 to 5, like corporate type jobs. And I was trained to be very analytical and doubtful of all these things. And it was very hard for me to accept things like astrology and human design and the importance of planetary energies on my body. I thought that was all bullshit too, until I actually gave it a chance. I'm like, let's just do it. It's like an experiment. Let's just pretend that this is an experiment. It can't hurt. If I think it's bullshit after I try it and learn about it, then fine, then it is. But I can't just judge something on face value because somebody else probably told me it was stupid. And that's actually one of the things that they nickname human design, is like the great experiment. So it never fails to amaze me when I do readings for people, because no matter what I pull in their chart, like sometimes they even pull something that seems kind of like a negative aspect or a really challenging aspect. And I struggle to bring it up because I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want them to feel bad about this thing. And then when I talk about it with them, they're just kind of like, oh yeah, I know, it's just a normal part of their life. And I think that's how, first of all, that people who don't menstruate probably think of the menstrual cycle for females like, oh, like I never even thought about how powerful it makes a woman or someone who menstruates, and how you can track that, and you can understand your moods, understand when you're going to feel motivated, understand when you have more connection to like the metaphysical, to the spiritual realm, when you need to actually take some days off. Because being in the health and fitness space as well myself, I see this all the time. I'm always seeing women and people who menstruate that say like, I just need to pass right through this period, like fuck this, I'm just gonna work out, even though they have these horrible cramps. And I've seen several who've actually skipped or completely lost their periods as well. And I just think that it's like, how do we do this, especially for people that are so already fitness and health conscious minded? Like, how do they get themselves into this place where they're doing something that's so unhealthy for their body? And there's just so much missing from the current, let's say, the education system, for one. Even in marketing and ads, like what do you always see? It's like, oh, let's hide the period away, girls, like, and like vagina douches and stuff. It's like, no, the vagina is self-cleaning. Don't do that to yourself. I get off track though here, but we definitely need more things in the mainstream. We need coaching programs like this, like Empire, with people that understand holistic wellness and how it ties into mind, body, soul, all of those things. And human design I'm so excited to dive into this. But just for one example, there's everybody has what's called an energy type. So it has to do with which centers, which energy centers or chakras you have defined in your body or activated in your body. And that tells you what type of energy type that you are, like how you generally process energy, what your kind of overall strategy in life should be with how to kind of protect and amplify your energy, how to best use it. And in these basic energy types, the most rare, about 1% of the world, is called a reflector. And a reflector does not have any activated or defined energy centers in their body. They are meant to reflect, like they're just reflecting what we're doing. And they have what's called a sampling aura. So I bring up the reflector in terms of this conversation just because they are such a beautiful example of following cycles and their strategy to make the best decisions for themselves, because they don't have anything defined where they can consistently rely on it like that, like a lot of us, is to go through an entire lunar cycle, which is 28 to 29 days, and sample the energy of each of those days, of each of the planetary energies as they go through that cycle. And then at the end of it, then they gain clarity, like it could be on a certain day in the cycle, but I'm so curious to work with a reflector and see how that manifests for them. But that's just one example. We can all learn from that. That's from a lunar transit. So the way the moon orbits around the earth, and tracking that. And then there's also tracking the solar cycle, and then all of the other planets. And those are all specifically mapped out in your chart in what's called your body graph. And you can see like how each planet affects you, and then start to tie together human design and astrology in terms of transits, and say like, okay, well, Jupiter is here right now. So what does that mean for, let's say, like my heart center? How's my heart center doing? Or maybe it like activates something in your gates and channels that you have in your body. And it helps give that additional confidence that I like to call them permission slips, that maybe I haven't been feeling energetic lately, or maybe I need extra validation. I need to be told I'm pretty, or anything like that. I'm overthinking, or I'm feeling very stressed out and I need to like do all this yoga and meditation to get rid of it. It's like, why is this happening to me? And sometimes literally just looking at your chart can give you clues to that. So there's certain centers that are going to be even more, or the most, I guess, relevant to this. And I would say the main one would probably be our sacral center. And I love the name of it too. It goes right along with everything, right? So our sacrum, our sacral centers, right in the womb space, and both men, women, everyone, all humans and animals actually have it. And that's where we have our most vital life force energy, where it generates from, if you're somebody who generates energy in your energy type. And it's where we house our creativity, both physical, like, to create life, or to create whatever, like music, art, anything, poetry, your words and ideas. And that, I think, is a really great place to wrap up my little spiel here, is just to say that your sacral center, even if you come away from this talk and you don't think about anything else, just realizing creativity itself, our ability to create life, is directly tied to our ability to create anything else. And when you harness that together, when you accept it, when you know that it's beautiful, when you take care of it and you nourish that, and you don't think of it as something that needs to be hidden away and only talked about in certain situations with certain people, when you can actually let that out and embrace that, then your entire creative process will bloom and you can have your empire.
Yes, I love this because it's so deeply connected with, like, we are all creators, right? A lot of times we think, oh yeah, I cannot create, I'm not creative. It's just because you've learned this, because you've been to school where people tell you, I was a person, I love to dream. I had, of course, we all as kids, we had dreams. So I would like draw things, and I would like dream about, what's going to happen in life, what I want to create, and me being a singer on stage, all of these crazy things that I wanted to become. And of course, teachers tell you, stop dreaming, do the homework, or like learn this. And we lose this skill, because if you see kids, we all have that in us, right? It's just over time we don't allow ourselves to do it anymore, and we're, what we do is we follow orders, right? We do school and we learn this and we write it all down, and that's all we do. And actually the people that are creative, have this, I feel like, when people allow themselves to be creative, you have this sense of like more energy, and you feel more energetic, and you're creating something that is going to help other people. And that's why I think, again, tying back into the program Empire, you know, all of us, we need to have that, we need to find that back, and reclaim this part of ourselves that is already within us, and use it again. If you're an entrepreneur or whatever you do, right, it's going to help you back with that part of yourself that is going to make your, and you know, and the life of people, that the people that are around in you are going to get inspired by you as well, right? Because you're, what you do, you're going to be inspiring the people around you, going to be teaching them in some kind of way, right? It's like this ripple effect that I always like to say: when you heal yourself, you heal the world, right? When you learn about the menstrual cycle, about all of these tools that are going to be given to you in this program, you're going to take this with you, and people are going to notice that you're changing. People are going to see, wow, what is she doing? And people are going to ask you. I had this happen with my one-on-one client who quit her job because she was like, you know, when we started work, she was like, I just hate what I do. I'm not aligned with it anymore. Also 9 to 5. And, you know, I helped her. I was like, okay, so what do you want to do? She's like, guess what I just did? And I was like, huh? And I quit my job. And now she's like 1 month, you know, she has 1 month left to finish it up. And she said she went back to the company to like meet all of the people. And so many people came up to her and said, you know what, I admire you. I wish I could do that. You actually inspire me. Maybe I will do that too. Because once you start, underestimate the effect that it's going to have on the world, right? And on the people around. Even if it's one person's life that you're going to change. But no matter if you're a mother, no matter if you're a girlfriend, you know, no matter, you know, where you come from and what people are around you, you're always going to create impact, right? The more you are yourself, the more you do what you feel called to do, right? The more you know your dharma, the more you're going to inspire the people around you, because you're going to feel in a good place to be able to help others. And that's something that I needed to learn as well, because I didn't understand that when I started working and I had my own business, and I exhausted myself to the point where I just couldn't even think straight anymore, because I thought that's what entrepreneurs had to do. And I realized, like, oh my God, like, I'm supposed to be there for my clients, but here I am laying in bed because I overworked myself, because I didn't know how to do it the right way. That's why I have this program. That's why I've created Empire, so you don't have to feel this way anymore. So you wake up every morning, you know exactly what you have to do. You know exactly what you need right now, what your body needs, and you know exactly how to give that to you, to yourself.
Yeah, I got chills when you said energy. Like, it's so simple, but yeah, you understand your energy better, and you don't consider yourself a failure when you get to the, like, let's say, even relating it to cycles, that what we tend to do, and hopefully you can like mitigate this a little bit and make it less intense. But it's like, you know, think of what you want to do, and then you do it, you do the work, and then you rest. And a lot of people, it's not just rest, it's full burnout. Like, I mean, that actually happened to me, no joke. I was working my 9 to 5 that I quit almost 2 years ago. I had to quit, actually, because I was just forcing myself. I thought, I can't quit. Yeah, that's the mental process, right? You say, I cannot do this. But that's such a limiting belief, because you know what, most of the time when you say that, you can, and you're just telling yourself that. The limiting beliefs underneath that were things like, who am I to quit my job when we're in the middle of a pandemic? Like, what am I going to do if that happens? Where am I going to live? How am I going to make money? And it's like, those are all answerable questions. But when you actually believe it's true that I can't do something, then you're tricking yourself. And like you said, people tell me this all the time too, where they'll be like, oh, I wish I could be like you, and blah, 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 blah. Like a year ago when I said, I'm just going to go drive to the Grand Canyon all the way across country. And you know why I did that? Because I had it on my vision board up there. I had a picture of it, and I would look at it and be like, oh, maybe one day I'm going to do that, but I just can't. And I was like, wait, what do I mean I can't? Like, why don't I, what is a road trip? Like, you get in your car and you drive. Like, what's so complicated about that? Let's break it down. Why do I think I can't do this? And turns out I could. And so I did. And there's just so many limiting beliefs that people have that I wish that they would see, like when they see somebody like you or me, that we're not so different. we're not so different. We just did the work. We got the help and support. We got the tools and systems to use. And, you know, I didn't have the confidence before. Yeah, like last June was when I went to the canyon. I had a personal coach at the time, and I had been doing my vegan fitness challenges as well, where I had coaches for over a year at that point. So everything changes when you get help. And I know you hear this from coaches all the time, get a coach. But why do we hear that? Because it works. It really works. It's like the difference between sitting in a college classroom where there's 300 people in a lecture hall and you don't do the homework, and sometimes you don't go to class because nobody's going to check anyway, versus having a private tutor, right? Like, you can't escape that work. Like, there's accountability there, there's more direction, there's personalization. So you're not just some random person who, like, someone who menstruates and has to skip class because you have cramps. Like, but we understand you're not being treated exactly the same as everybody else. And I just think it's so important that we learn these hidden things about ourselves, that when we also discuss it with others, you realize that you're not so different. You realize that these people that you aspire to be like went through similar circumstances as you, went through similar limiting beliefs and psychological dilemmas, emotional dilemmas, maybe even like money blocks and things like that. And they found a way, and they didn't do it alone. Every very successful person, I mean, I know sometimes you see those people say that word self-made out there, and I don't believe in that at all, because there's nobody that operates in isolation. And at the very least, you're sharing resources. Like, how do you can't get money, like, you didn't create that money came from somewhere. So we all need to lean on each other. And that's also a very feminine thing as well, tying it back to the menstrual cycle, is to embrace our sisters around us and to be less competitive with them, and to understand that we can come together and learn these things and elevate each other and just become this inner empress.
Yes, yeah, it's so true. And I love that you said that, because every single coach I've worked with afterwards, I'm not the same person anymore. Like, the person that I used to be. It's crazy. And I've had so many coaches at this point, and I'm planning on having so many more coaches, because there's always someone that can teach me something, right? There's, like, it never ends. And every time I work with someone, I elevate in a way that I didn't think it would be even more possible. And I'm looking into working with new people. I'm like, okay, so this is one of my problems right now that I want to solve. Who's there to help me with that, right? And so what you said is, well, we are not meant to do it on our own. And, you know, the things that I'm teaching, that we're teaching in the program, are a result of the work that we have done and the investments we have put into ourselves. And if it's time, if it's money, if it's resources, if it's doing it on our own over years and years and years, right? It's really like, so many things that we're going to be teaching are part of, like, the things that, you know, we have to overcome ourselves first, right? That's why it's always so powerful to join people that have been on the same journey as you. And that's why I know, you know, that the people that we're going to attract, they're going to feel very called to do it, because I know that I go to people where I see something in them. I'm like, okay, I want to learn this. How did they do this, right? And again, I truly believe there's no other program, how you said as well, that covers all of the aspects as well as we do. I haven't seen something like this before. And I know this is going to change every person that is going to join this program. It's going to change your life. I know it, because again, the stuff is like what Bob Proctor always says as well. It's like, there's a knowing doing gap, right? Like, we know what we need to do, but we don't do it. Why don't we do it? Why don't we do it, right? We know exactly what we need to do, but we don't do it. Why? It's because it's our programming, right? It's because habits are easier to just stay the same forever, because changing your habit requires you to change you, right? And people don't know how to, because we'd rather just stay with what we know. But then again, you know, it's like, how big is your willingness to stay where you're at, knowing that you can completely change your life? Like, where would you rather be, taking the chance and knowing that this is going to change your life, or do you want to just stay in what you know and stay in your bubble and just whatever, one day I'm gonna do it, and one day I'm gonna, like, No, this is your time to do this now. And this is your time to join Empire and to do this for yourself and to do this for the world. Especially now, we need to be well. We need to be able to take care of ourselves. We know what's happening, and that's why I'm so passionate about this, because we know that we need to be able to be there for others, and we can only be there for others when we are well, right? Otherwise, not going to work.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love that you talked about coaching and investing in yourself. And I think that was probably one of the biggest things was I started signing up for coaching and for self-development stuff at a time after I'd lost my job where, yeah, I had some money saved up, but it was scary to think like I'm working from a limited resources fund to do this thing. And you know how good it felt to actually spend that money and to invest in myself and say, I am not trapped in this situation. I am not seeing my limited bank account as this finite resource. I know that when I put this investment in, it's going to come back to me. And that's so scary because that's not the way that I had operated for an entire decade, more than a decade, 15 years. It was always like, no, put all the money, the extra money goes in the savings, you don't touch it, and it has to have stuff added to it every single day. Like, you know, I had this limited mindset of if I spend that money, if I invest in myself in coaching, then I am wasting this money and I am going to end up broken poor. And here I am like almost 2 years later, I'm doing great. But yeah, it's like that feeling of I am going to take this money and put it into something for myself and not just spending it all on bills, spending it on one-time disposable things, you know, like some of them we need obviously, right? Like food, events, going out to the movies, clothes, your bills, all those kinds of things, but you're not investing in yourself. That's what's leaking the bank account. When you actually take that step and say, no, I am elevating my life. I know this thing is going to change my life. And then you energetically align with this idea. I am changing myself and I am putting money, which is energy, towards this change. And you will see results. Trust me. I didn't believe it myself. I remember when my coach was telling me that, I'm like, oh my God, but it's money and I don't want to get rid of it. And I don't know if I believe this yet. And then I did it and I saw the results. I saw the changes. It's like, I told you so. You know? But the investment in this program too, especially with the early bird price that's going on, it's probably a third or less, maybe a quarter of what I paid for the other two coaching things that I did. And even for the standalone program, like I had a self-serve program I signed up for, and it's still like a good like $300 or $400 less than that for something that's way more unique as well. And so I'm not that great of a salesperson, but when I do believe in something, I think that I'm pretty good about expressing that and to really commend Jess because she is a wonderful coach, and also the content for this program. It's very unique, it's very life-changing, and especially for women or those who menstruate, it's something that may have been missing in your life for a really, really long time that you don't even realize how much it's going to change things for you when you invest in it.
Exactly. I love this so much, and I love you, and I love that you said that, because oftentimes it's me trying to speak about how, you know, how I invest in myself and the relationship I have with money, but hearing it from someone else and having a conversation with someone else that has been exactly through what I've been through is so beautiful, because I've been through the exact same thing. The first time I invested money, I was scared AF. I was like, what am I doing? Oh my God, this is not good. I worked so hard for this money. And then it came back like 10 times, 20 times. Every time I did that, at this point, I don't know how much money, like thousands and thousands of euros or dollars, how you want to say it. I invested so much into myself, but it always comes back to me because I know I'm the best investment I can make. Always, 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 right? Because that is something that will always generate you more if you know how to, right? That's the thing. Like, if that needs to click, but also that's another discussion. Maybe we can do another one on money vlogs. This is not a bad idea. We should do that. But yeah, let's try to close it up. And for everyone that is watching it live or watching the recording, I think I'm going to put this up on my podcast as well. I think it's going to be good. You will find the link to join the program in the link in my bio. Lara has it also on her Instagram. She has the post on there, which I think you still have to put up. I need to send this to you. That's listening to the podcast. You will find it in the show notes right there as well. So honestly, if you're just considering it, just do it. I already had, you know, a couple of ladies reach out to me. They're like, oh, should I not? I'm like, if you're already considering it, just click on the buy button and be there. And if you're not 100% sure, book a clarity call with me, 15-minute clarity call, you and me. We just have a conversation and you get to know me a little bit better, and that's going to also help you probably make the decision easier. So any last words from you, Laura?
Not too much here. I'm super excited to dive into this and to show everyone how human design relates to it, how the moon, if you have a chance, like we just had this new moon yesterday, and here's a way that we can relate it to the cycle as well, is that the moon ties into the menstrual cycle. And so start to notice, this is like one little homework assignment for you if you're someone who menstruates. Start to notice, do you ovulate around the new moon or around the full moon, or at a different phase of the moon? And then you can look up from there what that means. Because I actually switched. I used to be a full mooner, and now I'm more of a new mooner right now, and it changes the things that you're doing and your direction. So yeah, I can't help but talk about the moon. I'm so in awe of it and of our menstrual and sacral powers within us. And thank you so much for having me on your page, and I guess on the podcast as well. And I can't wait to tell all you Empresses about human design soon.
Yes, I'm very, very excited. It's going to be incredible. And it's not the last time you're seeing us, guys. There's going to come a lot more. I'm sure about that. All right, Lara, thank you so much for being on here early your morning. I appreciate you so much. And I'm so excited for us to start. Make sure you get the program right now. You save your spot. See you later. All right. Take care, everyone. Much love. Bye.